who's going to be left behind to clean up COVID-19, right? And I can tell you who it's going to be. It's going to be black and brown people. They're going to clean up COVID-19. And you know what? They're going to clean up COVID-19 with inadequate safety controls. So they're going to be asked to go in there, just like in my asbestos cases, when I sued companies they said, we're going to get rid of this asbestos. Oh, really? What did they do? They went out and they hired illegal Mexicans to come in, remove it, and then get them back out of the country because they didn't want to deal with the fact if they're exposed to asbestos, they could be exposed to a significant lawsuit, right? So rather than do it the right way, they're gonna allow the Hispanic cleaning staff with some type of mask to go in there and desanitize, right? So they're gonna put their lives at stake because financially they can.
That's insane. Al Parisi, attorney with Parisi and Bellavia, just sharing some knowledge here.
It's going to fall right in the community's lap because then they're given a decision. Like my mom cleaned houses for a living, right? And they're going to give people like her that had a son at home by himself, and they're going to say, Mary, do you want to show up to work or not? This is your job. You still have to clean. Yeah, but I could bring something home to my son. It's absolutely your decision. Just like the coal miners. Oh, they didn't have to go back in the coal mine. Well, they're making us into coal miners.
Important conversation here. And you know how the powers that be are. Sometimes they start messing with our technology. We're trying to speak truth. But you were on the Wake Up Club maybe a week or two ago, and we were talking about the human clinical trial of the COVID-19 vaccines.
Oh, yeah, it really scares me because the test that they're trying here in Rochester, New York, right? It's never been used on humans before. So we're talking about an injection for a vaccine that hasn't been tried on humans yet. So if you look at it, any of these companies that are in a race to come up with an answer to this COVID-19, they're in a financial race because there's millions to be made in this proposition.
Right. So it was actually Pfizer. You mentioned the drug company. So Pfizer hired, first they hired URMC, and then URMC hired Rochester General to do the recruiting. So they got 90 adults to participate in this human trial of the coronavirus vaccine. And from what I understand, this is a messenger RNA. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, well, that's the one. That's the messenger RNA is the one that has not been tested on humans yet. They're trying to short circuit the testing as much as they can by not trying it on humans, by just seeing, what they can come up with. And this is one that that has not been tested. It'll be the first human testing right here, the same place where they did the plutonium experiments way back when at Strong. So these drugs are experimental, and the question is, are we going to let them experiment first with us and then with our kids? So when they come out, the pharmaceutical companies, and say, congratulations, we have a vaccine, right? Are we going to go running in there? Historically, black and brown communities have not gone running in, right? Because they know what the questions are. They know in Puerto Rico, on the island of Puerto Rico, there was a drug that was distributed far and wide, and it allowed for women to become sterile. They didn't tell them that. They told them that it was a vaccine that was going to help cure a virus that had run rampant throughout Puerto Rico, and instead it left a percentage of the population sterile. So the question becomes, we want things, everybody wants that vaccine. Everybody wants that magic pill, but we have to go in with our eyes open.
Do you think that this will become a mandatory thing? Like, you must be vaccinated for COVID-19 or else you can't go to school, or else you're not welcome back into the workplace? And is there any legal ground for that, or for our defense in that matter?
Oh, yeah, there's absolutely going to be a lot of litigation over, because you just see it coming right on the road. There's going to be a group of people who say, wait a second here, I want there to be further testing before I agree to get the vaccine. So they're saying, everybody's saying, fast track it, fast track it. We want to fast track this drug. Why? Because we want to get to work, right? But at what cost? Is it worth the cost of your future generations, of your kids being born with mental disabilities? These are the kinds of things we're going to be looking at. And what I'm saying is the word fast track, we're going to push it through, right, without testing. For me as a trial lawyer, throws up all kinds of flags and gets me really worried about what kinds of things are they going to circumvent, because we're literally going to be the experiment. Right. So they're going to ask us to be the experiment. And I don't particularly like the feeling of being an experiment.
No, not at all. And if it comes to that, where they say we have a vaccine, everybody has to get it, is there any way, I don't know if you've been following, other vaccines from last year, they said all of a sudden you have to get X, Y, and Z, and they took away the exception for religion, right? So yeah. Is there going to be any way for us to fight back if we're feeling, that we don't want to get it? Like my family, we don't get the flu shot because my kids are allergic to eggs, and there's, partly like some eggs in there, or fish, or whatever it is. Are we going to have any way to get out of it? Is there any get out of jail free card, or is it going to be absolutely everybody has to have it, or else you can't participate in, social establishments such as school?
Right, for sure. I foresee them saying that if they get a vaccine and your child decides not to get that vaccine, and you as a parent say, no, experiment on somebody else's kids, not mine. If you make that decision, for sure, they're going to tell you that your kid can't come to school. And then obviously it can result in litigation, but the litigation may say they're within their right to do it, because a lot of the cases that have come down recently have said no, on religious grounds, you have to show up vaccinated, otherwise you're exposing, all these other individuals. So right now, the way it looks is that we're not going to have much of a leg to stand on, other than not participating, homeschooling, and doing those type of things. Yeah, no, we're working at full steam, and a lot of the people are asking questions about what is their responsibility. In other words, if they're in family court and they're required to go to family court because they have an issue or something like that, do they have to show up, right? And right now, all I can tell you is the things that the judges really look at is things like comorbidities. So if you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, if you have any of those type of things or asthma, and there's a reason why you're scared, you should, without question, advise the court of that and get a letter from your doctor saying, I'm sorry, Sally can't come to court this day. I don't think it'd be a good idea because she suffers from these comorbidities. So, there isn't, a get out of jail free card, like you don't have to go. The better thing to do is to not let the date go by, write a quick note to the judge, and it's easy to do. These are the reasons why I'm scared to come down. I'm living with my mom. My mom is 86 years old. If I bring this home to my mom, she'll die. And I'm frightened right now. It's really a time period where if you take the aggressive point and you go out and tell them, what you're scared of, there's a good chance they'll either adjourn it, or like all my trials right now, so many of the hearings are being done over Zoom and other methods.
Oh, okay. Okay. And I also read somewhere that if I wanted to file like a small claims, I can also do that electronically.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that electronically. And like I said, we're always willing. If you give us a call at 888-8000 at our firm, Samantha or Tim will pick up the phone and they'll kind of guide you through those kind of things. So don't worry about that, okay. Especially during this time period. we're working, we got everybody manning the phones. So, we'll help people, get through those situations, because it's really an interesting time. Because I want you to think about this for a second, right, Jazz? And you explain this to me, um, coal miners, when they were asked to go into those coal mines, right? There was a potential hazard of them getting lung disease and dying, right? Now, my question to you is, right, has this made us all into coal miners? Like, they're asking us now to go to work, right? They're asking us to come out of our house and go into work. Now, what a lot of people say about those coal miners, oh, they had an option. They didn't have to go, right? Well, we say to them, no, 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 but they had to eat. Their family liked to eat, right? So that they had an option thing doesn't fly with me, right? So my question is this, is in Monroe County right now, right? I thought it was really odd, okay, that the governor put in charge of whether or not upstate goes back to work, right, to the head of the Chamber of Commerce. What the heck?
That's an excellent point.
Chamber of Commerce, who make money off of people working, making the decision of my health, right?
Wow, that is such a great observation, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because as most of us know, Bob Duffy is the person you're referring to, and of course he is in charge of our chamber here in the Rochester area, and of course he wants people to get back to work, but I never necessarily put those two and two together. Wow.
Right, and I thought it was because it was a sucker punch from the governor saying, okay, you guys have so many whatever Republicans up there, you want to go back to work, God bless you. You and the Chamber of Commerce, take your chances, but I'm sealing off downstate. I'm making sure they're protected, and you go.
Do we have any rights if you are fired from a job after refusing to return, citing coronavirus concerns?
Oh, absolutely. And those cases right now, the most important thing is, please document. I have a woman. She was handing out laundry at a nursing home. Okay, and they said, I'm sorry, we don't have enough masks for you. We only have enough for the nurses. And this woman was going room to room to room. Right?
Wow.
How knucklehead is that? In terms of her spreading, God forbid, to all of these older people, the virus, right? So she told her employer, not only for my safety, but for the safety of these residents in this nursing home, I don't think that's a great idea, right? And of course, they fired her, right? They told her, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. You have a choice. You come to work tomorrow at 7 a.m., or you don't. We don't have enough masks.
So she gets fired. That makes her ineligible for unemployment.
Right. Oh, absolutely. That's what they're trying to push it towards. And then they're trying to say, and good luck right now, all the law firms, everybody's, kind of on half staff and things like that. But if you document it all, we can get you in the right hands to an employment attorney who can work it out. But especially working class people who just want to survive. You have 3 kids, you're trying to get through, right? People will say, oh, you have a choice. Well, do you really? I went down the other day to the dollar store, and the woman there at checkout was pregnant, right? I almost cried. I almost wanted to take her job. I almost wanted to say to her, you go home, I'll do this. I don't know how the hell to do it, but I'm going to do it, because I was so worried about her putting herself at risk, her putting her fetus at risk, right? All for what? All for what, right? A job.